the quiet passenger who changed everything. The early morning fog wrapped around the airport like a blanket. It was calm, quiet, almost too quiet. Inside the terminal near Gate 18, a man stood alone, no suit, no flashing badge, no loud presence, just a warm jacket and a worn leather bag. His name? David Mbeki. To the average traveler, he looked like a retired teacher, or maybe a tourist from southern Africa. But David was no ordinary man. He was the sitting president of Namibia, returning home from a global health summit in Berlin. He believed in traveling like his people, low-key, humble, no entourage. That's how he stayed grounded. As boarding began for the Lufthansa flight to Windhoek, he smiled at a janitor sweeping the floor. "Guten Morgen," he said softly. The janitor replied with a friendly nod, unaware he'd just greeted the president. David entered the aircraft silently, offered a respectful smile to the flight attendants, and settled into seat 3A in business class. He stared out the window, peaceful. A few rows back, however, trouble was brewing. A German real estate tycoon, Hans Dietrich, stormed into the gate area with 2 assistants and a sense of entitlement that could fill the entire airport. He was loud, demanding, used to luxury, first class, always. But this time there was a problem. "Business class is full, sir," the gate agent told him. Dietrich scoffed. "Not for me. I'll speak to your manager." When told there was no exception, he grew louder. "I donate millions in African infrastructure. I won't sit in economy like a backpacker." The airline staff, uncomfortable, called in a senior flight attendant, Elena Schmidt, tall, blonde, and corporate perfect. She marched onto the plane with a mission. She scanned business class, eyes pausing at David Mbeki, black, older, modestly dressed. Her assumptions kicked in. She leaned toward her colleague and muttered, "Must be an upgrade mistake." She approached David with a polished but forced smile. "Sir, may I see your boarding pass?" David handed it to her calmly. "Seat 3A, confirmed." Still, Elena returned a minute later, this time more firm. "We kindly request you move to economy. We'll compensate you for the inconvenience." David looked at her, surprised. "And why me?" Elena stammered. "Just a seating adjustment." "A more important guest than me?" he asked, still calm. She didn't respond. David simply replied, "No thank you, I'll remain in my seat." The tension thickened. Elena didn't back down. "Sir, this is for operational reasons." David locked eyes with her. "Then explain why others aren't being moved. Or is this decision based on what you think I look like?" More passengers were now watching. A quiet discomfort filled the cabin. Elena backed off, but began quietly asking other black passengers in business class to relocate. That's when David stood again. "Enough," he said, calm but thunderous. "This is discrimination." Elena, frustrated, left again. "These people," she muttered under her breath in German. A few minutes later, the CEO was escorted on board. Elena greeted him with sparkling service, champagne, warm towels, and fake admiration. David sat still. The plane lifted off. Above the clouds, injustice flew silently beside them. Later, Elena returned to David. "Would you like a drink?" "Just water," he replied. She walked off, no apology, no kindness. But she didn't know the storm she'd awakened. 2 hours later, the plane began its descent into Windhoek. Outside, a presidential motorcade awaited on the tarmac, armored vehicles, ministers, and the National Guard in perfect rows. Inside, whispers. "Who is this for?" asked a foreign tourist. "Must be a head of state," someone said. The CEO straightened his tie. "Ah, they've come for me," he smirked. But when the plane stopped, a general boarded. He walked to seat 3A, stood tall, and saluted. "President Mbeki, welcome home, sir." The cabin froze. Elena dropped her clipboard. The CEO's face turned pale. David Mbeki rose slowly, nodded, and stepped into history. 2 soldiers entered and turned to Elena and the CEO. "You'll both come with us. Now." "What?" Elena gasped. "You insulted the president of a sovereign nation. That is not taken lightly." The passengers watched in stunned silence as they were led away. No longer untouchable, no longer powerful. Outside, thousands had gathered beyond the airport fence.